Welcome everyone. My name is Zee P COMM. I'm here to speak about a subject that the very mention of strikes fear in the hearts of many people. That the very thought of or mention of can start anxiety to skyrocket through the roof. You can get blood pressures to go up, you can get hearts to start racing, people to start shaking, even cold sweats. You might ask yourself, what am I talking about? Am I talking about tsunamis, earthquakes, nuclear holocaust? What is it? Well, I brought a special guest in via YouTube, and he's going to shed some light on what I'm talking about.
I saw a thing, actually, a study that said speaking in front of a crowd is considered the #1 fear of the average person. I found that amazing. Number 2 was death. Death is number 2? This means to the average person, if you have to be at a funeral, you would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy.
So yes, I'm talking about public speaking. And according to some surveys, one of which he mentioned right there, this survey taken in 1993 lists speaking before a group as the #1 fear at 45%. Right above heights, financial problems, deep water, and death coming in at number 5. It's like 14 percentage points below speaking before a group. Here in another poll, the Gallup's News Service poll, it talks about Americans' fears. The #1 list on here, #1 on this list is snakes, coming at 51 and 56% respectively. This survey was taken once in 1998 and again in 2001. The green highlights the results from 1998, and the lighter color highlights the results from 2001. As you can see here, public speaking comes in at number 2. Not quite #1, but still very high on that list. And yet one more survey taken from 2013 from the Daily Mail of UK. 2,000 women were polled, and their #1 fear was losing family members, #1, being buried alive, #2, speaking in public, #3, and finally, 4, death. Once again, speaking in public coming in at #1 spot higher. You might ask yourself, why? Why is public speaking so scary? Well, according to Conrad Tetel, the partner at the law firm of Preyrout and Tetel, also a law professor at the University of Miami Law School, in an article he published in 1998, he stated, "Why fear public speaking? Basically, we don't want to make fools out of ourselves." It's pretty simple. Well, and there could be another reason for this as well. The fight or flight response, something that underlies that. I was at a training in 2013 when a presenter named Eric Gentry, a licensed mental health clinician, talked about his own struggles with public speaking. And here he was giving a speech to about 100 of us in a conference room. He says that when we get up on stage, we perceive the audience as threats, much like we would perceive a bear if we came across them in the woods. Our body goes into a fight or flight response. Evolutionary speaking, this has been something that's been very helpful to us as a species to survive and keep going forward. If you come across a bear in the woods, your best chances of survival are to either run immediately or attack. Now granted, attacking probably won't have a favorable outcome as well, but it's much better than listing the reasons why or why not you should run or fight. He said that when we get up on stage, we lose access to the executive functions of our brain. It's not having access to certain areas that we have access to in just straight up conversations with one another. Makes a lot of sense. This gentleman right here, his name is Justin Mason. He's been a well-known advocate against public speaking. last year at NARA, he gave a speech at the NARA treatment facility. Probably 70 plus people in attendance, and he nailed it. I asked him, what was the secret? He said, everybody have fun tonight. Everybody went chung tonight.
That's my motto.
Thanks, Justin, for that. On a more serious note, I was at a training last week, and a woman named Ariel Singer was the presenter. She's very confident in her delivery. She has a master's in public health. I asked her a few questions after it was done. And I asked her, like, does she get nervous speaking in front of people? She said no. She said she's one of the lucky few. But what she does do, when she goes up there, she knows what she's talking about. She prepares. She has a good night's sleep, and she's confident. So, one thing that we can, a couple of things that we can conclude from this is that most people get nervous before speaking, even really good speakers. It's important to know what you're talking about. In our textbook, it talks about Winston Churchill when he was asked, how long does he prepare for a speech? He said 40 years, meaning he basically took his life experiences and used them in his speech. Know what you're talking about. And in the mortal words of my cousin, everybody have fun tonight. Everybody Wing Chun tonight. From the band Wing Chun. Thank you very much.